Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to What's the Deal with featuring Pat and Tim. Wait a minute. Where's Patrick? What'd you do with him?
Where is Patrick?
I'm going to tell you right now, you are way better looking than Patrick.
Right.
Yeah. So if you don't know who is on with me today, this is my old buddy, Ty Fleming. Ty has been with Max Digital. I don't know. Tell him a little bit about Ty Fleming.
God, Ty Fleming. I've been with Max Digital since 2012. Done a lot of things with this company. Account management up in the Northeast, success management across the country with some of our larger organizations, and now I'm doing all sales. So I'm on the sales front. Don't get to hang out with all our old accounts, but
no. So for the guys who used to work with me directly, Ty and I were like tag team, and we were running buddies for a couple of years with the Hendrick guys and the Penske guys and Luther. So thank you for coming on. We are going to talk about time to market today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was just on a call this morning with a VP and his 8 or 9 stores talking about, it was a used car only meeting, and he started the meeting like this. He said, we are going to have to be really, really good at used cars going forward. The supply of new cars for the remainder of the year is certainly in question. Depending upon the brand, it's worse or better. And he's like, the used car operations are going to have to be running at full tilt. So I think today is a great way to start springboard off of that and start talking about time to market. All right, are you kind of hearing the same thing, Ty?
Absolutely. I mean, and especially on the new car side, you're going to have so many incentives. So it's just one more thing. You got to control what you can on the pre-owned side. I mean, you nailed it.
Yeah. So there's Ty's information. If you want to reach out to him directly, tfleming@maxdigital.com. You connect with him on LinkedIn. There's me. There's my contact info. Live from the back lot. It's our Facebook group if you guys want to sign on there. We do have a poll question for today. All right, so Ty, this is where the folks on the other line get to respond to our question. So let's see.
I've seen this a couple times. That Super Bowl.
The worst Super Bowl team in the world is definitely the Bills. I don't know what people were thinking. All right, here we go. So today's poll question. What is an acceptable amount of time to get your cars online? Right? Is it zero, less than 1 day, 1 to 2 days, 2 to 3 days, or greater than 3 days? I think there's like a lot of gray area there. What sorts of things do you hear, Ty?
Gosh, obviously the lower the better. I have dealers ask me all the time, what's actually realistic? So, depending on the organization, you obviously want to streamline this process, figure out where any potential bottlenecks might be. But I mean, if you could ultimately have this at less than 1 day, I think that's as optimal as you can get. But what's realistic?
Yeah, right, exactly. So, all right, let's, okay. Well, it looks like I'm going to close the poll, and let's take a look here with a good number of you responding. Thank you very much. There you go. So it looks like the majority of you think 1 to 2 days, which you would think is realistic, amount of time to get a car online, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for participating, everybody. So let's get on with the presentation today. I start this discussion around gross because ultimately it's about how do you make money. That's why we do this. And you talk to a lot of guys, they'll tell you it's in the purchase, or you acquire it less or sell it for more. We talk with a lot of guys about sales process and digital showroom and desking. You can be really good at closing and hold the gross, right? Stop the drop. You can go out there and cut your reconditioning costs, but that could hurt your quality. But ultimately, it's about getting your cars photoed, and online. I think is one of the easiest ways. It's one of the most inexpensive ways, to cut your time to market and obviously increase your gross.
I couldn't agree
So,
more. I think, like we were saying, this is all about what can you control. Obviously, you want to acquire for less, but you're not always completely in control of that aspect of it. This is one element you can control.
for sure. So time to market as a definition is the time period from when a unit is received in inventory. So I'm going to drive this home. In our reporting in our tool, it's the receive date in your DMS, your data provider to us, to when that car is seen online, okay? And if you can, in theory, if you can improve time to market, right, you improve days to sale. If you improve your days to sale, you improve your turn. If you improve your turn, you improve your profit. It's that simple. All right, so I'm going to walk everybody through this worksheet, Ty. This is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I've seen you do this before. This is awesome.
Yeah, this is where if you don't really grasp the concept, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're a high volume Toyota store, or Honda store in Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, you sell 150 cars a month, and it takes you on average to sell a car every 24 days to sale is your average days per sale. Now that would mean that you're turning your inventory 15.2 times per week, right? And that would be an improvement of 3 days. So all we need to do is get better at getting our cars online by 3 days. So no matter what, we all think that it's 1 to 2, but realistically, where are we? So if we could drive that number down 3, get it to 21, we would improve our turns to 17.4 times a year. Ultimately, right, that's 2.2 times more. So if you're selling 150 cars in a month, that's an additional 330 cars over the span of an entire year. All right, all we're doing is trying to improve the process. So pick a good, decent front end gross, pick a decent back end gross, a dock fee, and then you got to call it a $27.85 round trip to sell a used car. Now, you take that front end gross, multiply it times 330. I mean, that's an additional $900,000 to the bottom line.
By 3 days. That's crazy.
Just taking 3 days, right?
Yeah.
What dealer is there a dealer out there that wouldn't take another 900,000?
Oh my God.
No. And I have a friend of mine that I ran this through, and he was like, okay, so say whatever, cut it in half. That's still $500,000, right? $450,000.
Right. Got it. You'll have some stores out there where you see their time to market is like 10 days. It's like, this is the first thing I can recommend for you to do. Just come in and figure out where that bottleneck is and just cut a couple days off that. Just get started with a couple days. Absolutely.
If you have a hard time convincing your shop that it's important, just, take a look at, what's your average recon bill and say, hey, imagine if we could put another X amount of cars through the shop. So there's another, whatever, in this case, it'd be $375,000 to the bottom line. And you're talking about, in this instance, $1.2 million. I think I've drilled that point home, right? I left a blank version of this worksheet as a handout in today's webinar. So if you want to grab that, you can take a look, take that home. If you want to hit me up on the side, I'll be happy to walk you through it. So Ty, tell us a little bit about where a dealer can go to find out where their time to market is with the Max Digital product.
That's easy. That is found right on the dashboard within Max Digital. So once you're in there, you're going to have up at the top a couple different displays. Your time to market is going to be the first report for any analytics that you'll see on the dashboard. You'll notice up in the top right, you can actually set the time frame of what you're looking at. So in the example here, it looks like we're looking at February, or just the month of February. But you can expand that back to a couple
right?
months. Exactly.
Well, that's how old. This stuff doesn't change.
It doesn't change. But one thing to keep in mind, and I do think you already mentioned this, Tim, is this is not when that vehicle was put into Max Digital. This is actually from the receive date in the DMS. Make sure you drill that home, because I've had a bunch of customers who have asked me that.
Yeah. So there's two metrics that we look at here, right? On the time to market report?
Correct.
All right. So what's the first one?
So the first one is going to be days to vehicle online with a photo.
Yeah.
So that first photo.
Yeah.
The second one is going to be days to complete ad online. So making sure you've gone through the ad and made any necessary changes to the ad description to get that complete ad online. So two different metrics you're looking at there.
And so why would a guy want to put just one photo on? Why would we measure one photo?
Well, you know, a lot of times dealerships have a service that actually comes out and take photos maybe a couple times a week. So if you know that car comes into inventory on a Monday, your photo provider isn't coming out till a Wednesday. Let's get one photo online so that we do have a presence on the website in that 2-day window where the photographer hasn't actually come out yet.
Yeah, no, exactly. So I put together this brief description. Apologize, my artwork is not the best, but gives you an idea of what, you know, it looks good, right? Yeah, it's pretty impressive for 2020. You know, what it looks like, you know, but understanding, you know, I would recommend get your PhD in the data flow for your dealership, because somebody there needs to know the ins and outs. That's where the money is made or lost. And ultimately, you know, the time to market report is measured. You know, we take a file back from those places that we either us or your online provider sends to the web, and we take a look and we say, hey, we sent them 100 cars, you know, and how long did it take to get this car on based on the receive date? There's your time to market. So yeah, cool. This just reiterates those points Ty made earlier. Good job. Again, one of the things that I get a lot of calls, I remember you do too, is about the view details, right, Ty?
Yep.
What does that give you?
That's just going to be a list of all of your individual units. I keep going back to the bottleneck of where you might be having that holdup. But if you click into that view details, it's actually going to show you exactly the data market for every vehicle within the inventory. You might have a pretty consistent one data market for a majority of your inventory, but if you've got one, you know, that for whatever reason has taken 2 weeks, that's going to really pull down your average. So I always say get into that view details just to make sure, you know, you're crossing all your T's, dotting all your I's.
Yeah, so this is where, you know, I'm gonna say, I think this is the last time we use the receive date in your IMS, sorry, your DMS. This is an old 4008 screen from Reynolds & Reynolds, but you guys get the idea. That's what we use as the benchmark, okay? And then the date the unit is returned in the file, we'll have that day there, and then we calculate it, you know, the total days, you know, we do round out to the nearest day in this one, you know, for your reporting purposes. So Ty, what if a guy takes a car in, and if you, this is the kind of car, if you put it through the car wash in the back, you screw it up. Is there a way a guy can get a car online really quick?
Absolutely. That button that you're showing right there, take into inventory. And anytime I have ever done an initial training or, you know, a revisit to how can I get better using this system, I always point that out. Because again, we'll pull in the inventory from the DMS automatically each evening. But in order to help with that time to market, that's what that manual take into inventory button is for. It's exactly what it's for.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It'll pop up this gray screen here. Just put in the information. If you do not see this take into inventory button in your instance of the appraisal tool, hit me up or hit the help desk up. We can get it activated for you. It's anybody can get that working. Okay, great. Let's see
What
here.
happens if you do build a car build it manually and then you pull it in that next night? Will they marry up?
Yeah, so if the information from the DMS will marry up with the information in the system, and it's based off of the VIN. So, you know, we won't let you put a car in with the wrong VIN. We will let you put a car in with the wrong stock number. But sometimes, you know, we fat finger it here and there. So if you see that, you might get a duplicate stock number once in a while, just call the help desk, and they'll be able to fix it for you right away. So, well, cool. So that's everything I think we had about time to market. I didn't see any questions today, but I think this is a great topic. Ty, anything to add? Tell them what you're up to these days.
You know, just try not to go too stir crazy. I'm in DC. It's cold up here, so ready for warmer days ahead.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Everybody, we will see you next Tuesday. You know, what's the deal? Featuring, dude, I'll tell you, Patrick should be concerned that we're going to do away with him and stick with you. So.
Just control what you can. If they can take anything from today, just control what you can.
Cool. Thanks, Ty. Everybody else, have a great weekend. Sell them all.
Thanks, Tim.